When desire becomes obsession, destiny has no choice but to bow. Life does not reward the casual or the half-hearted. It bows only to the one who is willing to think about their dream when others are sleeping, to work when others are doubting, to fight when others are quitting. Obsession is not madness, it is clarity. It is the moment you stop wishing and start demanding more from yourself. When a dream takes over your thoughts, your focus, your behavior, the world starts to move around you. Doors open, paths shift, opportunities appear. Destiny bends for the one who refuses to let go. When desire transforms into obsession, you stop negotiating with your limits. You stop asking life for permission and start taking responsibility for every step. Obsession sharpens your focus until distractions disappear. It pushes you past the point where ordinary people quit. It forces growth, discipline, and resilience. And when you move with that kind of fire, destiny eventually aligns with your will. It cannot resist a mind that refuses to surrender. It cannot deny a heart that keeps beating for the same dream, day after day. Obsession makes you unstoppable, and the world has no choice but to adjust. Obsession is the quiet engine behind every miracle you've ever admired. It's the force that turns late nights into breakthroughs, setbacks into strategy, and pain into progress. When your desire becomes the rhythm of your life, every action, every thought, every decision starts to serve the same purpose. You stop living by chance and begin living by intention. Obstacles shrink because your focus expands. Doubt fades because your determination grows louder. And the moment your dream becomes the only option you accept, destiny shifts its direction. It moves toward you, pulled by the gravity of your relentless will. When desire becomes obsession, you no longer wait for the right moment, you create it. Every sunrise becomes a reminder that you're not done yet. Every failure becomes fuel instead of fear. You start seeing possibilities where others see problems. Your mind becomes unshakable, your purpose becomes unbreakable, and your drive becomes undeniable. People may question you, doubt you, misunderstand you, but it doesn't matter. Obsession pulls you forward like a force of nature. It turns effort into habit and habit into mastery. And when you move with that kind of intensity, destiny eventually steps aside and lets you pass, because nothing can stop a person who refuses to slow down. Obsession is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. It's the fire that keeps burning long after motivation fades. When your desire becomes an unbreakable part of who you are, you stop chasing your destiny, you start building it piece by piece. You wake up with purpose, you move with intention, and you sleep with the satisfaction of knowing you pushed one step further. Your mind becomes tuned to progress. Your heart becomes aligned with your mission, and your actions start carving a path that destiny can't ignore. Eventually, life bends to your will, because obsession turns impossible into inevitable. Obsession rewires the way you see the world. Suddenly, every moment feels like an opportunity to climb higher, to learn more, to sharpen your edge. You stop being intimidated by the journey because the destination is burned into your mind. You stop fearing the struggle because your purpose is stronger than your pain. And while others look for shortcuts, you commit to the grind, knowing greatness has a price that only the obsessed are willing to pay. The deeper your desire grows, the more unstoppable you become. Eventually, destiny doesn't just move aside. It starts clearing the road for you, because it recognizes a force that cannot be denied. Obsession gives you a kind of clarity that most people never experience. It strips away excuses, comforts, and distractions until only the mission remains. You start moving differently, with conviction, with hunger, with purpose. The world can try to slow you down, but an obsessed mind doesn't break. It adapts. It finds a way through pressure, through noise, through doubt. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every delay becomes preparation. Every challenge becomes a doorway to strength. And as your desire deepens, your actions grow louder than your words. Destiny watches, waits, and eventually follows, because nothing can stand in the path of someone who has turned their dream into their identity. When desire becomes obsession, everything inside you changes. Your heartbeat changes. Your thinking changes. Your pace changes. The world sees the same person, but inside, a storm begins to rise. A storm made of hunger, purpose, willpower, and fire. It's the moment you stop asking for life to be fair and start demanding that life reveals what you're truly made of. Most people have desires, but very few turn them into obsession. And that's why very few touch greatness. Desire is common. Obsession is rare. Desire visits you. Obsession lives inside you. Desire is a spark. Obsession is a wildfire. Obsession turns your dream into oxygen. You don't just want it, you need it. It becomes the first thought when you wake up and the last thought before you sleep. It becomes the voice in your head that refuses to be silent. It becomes the reason you keep going when every part of you wants to quit. When desire becomes obsession, you stop waiting for inspiration. You stop waiting for motivation. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, because you realize that greatness isn't built by waiting. It's built by relentless action. Obsession removes the option of maybe. It removes the option of later. It removes the option of I'll try. Obsession leaves you with only one option: forward. There comes a point where your dream becomes so deeply embedded in your identity that you can't separate yourself from your mission. You start breathing your goal. You start walking with a different posture. You start living with a sharper awareness. The world begins to notice that something changed, even if they can't put words to it. They see the intensity. They feel the energy. They sense the unstoppable force growing inside you. They may not understand it, but they cannot ignore it. Obsession gives you a presence, a glow, a charge, a strength that doesn't require noise to be recognized. When desire becomes obsession, failure stops being an enemy and becomes a teacher. Every setback becomes information. Every mistake becomes adjustment. Every disappointment becomes redirection. The obsessed don't fear failure, they fear wasting potential. They fear staying the same. They fear never discovering how far they could have gone. Ordinary people avoid the struggle. Obsessed people welcome it, knowing the struggle is the sharpening stone of greatness. You don't rise in comfort. You rise in resistance. You rise in pressure. You rise in the moments when quitting feels easier, but you refuse to let yourself break. Obsession makes you allergic to excuses. Where others see obstacles, you see windows. Where others see delay, you see opportunity. Where others wait for the right time, you create the time. You create the chance. You create the opening. You become the kind of person who does not need everything to be perfect, because you understand that perfection is the enemy of execution. What matters is movement. What matters is persistence. What matters is refusing to stop. When desire becomes obsession, you stop chasing approval. You stop seeking validation. You stop worrying about the opinions of people who are not living your life, not carrying your responsibility, not walking your path. You realize that destiny is not shaped by spectators. It is shaped by warriors, by doers, by the ones who keep showing up even when the world misunderstands their fire. People will judge you for being obsessed, but they will later admire you for becoming unstoppable. That's how the story always goes. First they doubt, then they watch, then they copy. Obsession rewires your work ethic. You start doing more than expected, more than required, more than anyone around you is willing to do. You stop measuring your effort in hours and start measuring it in progress. You start valuing discipline more than comfort. And slowly, your discipline becomes your advantage. Your consistency becomes your identity. Your habits become your weapons. You start stacking small wins, day after day, until momentum begins to form a force field around your dream. A force so strong that even destiny must respect it. When desire becomes obsession, the world around you begins to shift. Opportunities appear that were invisible before. People enter your life who align with your mission. Ideas come to you in moments of silence. Strength rises in moments of weakness. Courage grows in moments of fear. Life starts moving in your favor, not because of luck, but because obsession amplified your focus, sharpened your choices, heightened your awareness, and strengthened your determination. Obsession makes you see what others cannot. It makes you hear the whispers of opportunity that others overlook. It makes you push past limits that others accept. It makes you execute in silence while the world waits for shortcuts. And when the results finally appear, People call it overnight success, unaware of the years of obsession behind it. There's something powerful that happens when your dream becomes your priority instead of your wish. Something transforms when you stop hoping and start building. When you stop dreaming and start becoming. When you stop fantasizing and start executing. That's when life begins to reveal its deepest rewards. That's when destiny begins to bend. That's when reality begins to shift. Because destiny doesn't choose the strongest, the smartest, or the luckiest. It chooses the most obsessed. Obsession is the birthplace of mastery. Anyone can dabble. Anyone can be average. Anyone can start. But mastery belongs to the obsessed. The ones who study, practice, sacrifice, repeat, refine, and push beyond the point where most people stop. Mastery demands endurance. It demands patience. It demands a focus so strong that the world cannot tempt you away from your mission. It demands a love for the grind, a respect for the journey, and a commitment to the process even when progress feels invisible. When desire becomes obsession, you start respecting time differently. You stop wasting your hours. You stop entertaining distractions. You stop giving energy to people who drain you. You stop living for temporary pleasure and start living for permanent impact. You begin protecting your mind as if it's your greatest asset, because it is. You start feeding yourself knowledge, discipline, purpose, ambition. You stop indulging in negativity, drama, and self-doubt. Your environment becomes cleaner. Your routine becomes sharper. Your direction becomes clearer. Your fire becomes hotter. Obsession changes your vision. You no longer look at the world through the lens of what is, you look through the lens of what could be. You begin to see potential in every moment. You begin to see growth in every challenge. You begin to see possibility where others see impossibility. You stop saying, I can't, and start saying, how can I? You stop saying, maybe someday, and start saying, today is the day. You stop waiting for motivation and start moving with intention. When desire becomes obsession, loneliness becomes a companion. You realize that the path to greatness isn't crowded. Few people are willing to sacrifice. Few are willing to go all in. Few are willing to give up comfort for purpose. But obsession makes the lonely path rewarding. Because you begin to fall in love with your mission, your progress, your growth. You begin to value your own approval more than the world's applause. And in the end, the world always joins the applause. But only after you've walked the lonely path alone. Obsession is what makes you wake up early, stay up late, and keep going in the hours nobody sees. It's what makes you read one more page, practice one more round, lift one more rep, take one more step, try one more time. It's what makes you endure criticism, battle doubt, fight fear, and stand tall in storms. It's what makes you break the walls that others walk away from. It's what makes you continue even when progress moves 1 inch at a time. It's what makes you unstoppable. And when the world sees an obsessed person, they don't see the internal war. They see the external results. They don't see the nights of self-doubt. They see the confidence of achievement. They don't see the moments of weakness. They see the strength of victory. They don't see the sacrifices. They see the spotlight. But obsession knows the truth. Greatness is built in the dark, long before it shines in the light. When desire becomes obsession, destiny has no choice. It must bend. It must move. It must align. Because destiny is not a gift. It is a negotiation. It meets you at the level of your dedication. It rewards the fire that refuses to fade. It bows to the heart that refuses to quit. It responds to the one who keeps showing up, keeps pushing, keeps fighting, keeps believing. Your destiny is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for obsession. It is waiting for you to burn so brightly that nothing can dim your purpose. It is waiting for you to rise so powerfully that nothing can deny your path. It is waiting for you to become so focused, so disciplined, so relentless, that destiny itself whispers, "This one cannot be stopped." Obsession turns your dream into a responsibility. You begin to feel accountable to your future, accountable to your potential, accountable to the version of yourself you know you can become. You stop negotiating with your weaknesses and start elevating your strengths. Every day becomes an opportunity to rise, to sharpen, to evolve. And while others wait for motivation, you operate from commitment. You move with a force that doesn't fade. You push with a purpose that doesn't weaken. And slowly, the universe begins to shift around you. Doors unlock, paths clear. Destiny leans in your direction, because obsession transforms you into someone impossible to deny. When desire becomes obsession, your mind develops a new kind of stamina. You don't just push through challenges. You absorb them, convert them, and use them as fuel. The moments that break ordinary people become the moments that remake you. You begin to understand that pressure is not punishment. Pressure is preparation. Every obstacle becomes a reminder of how capable you truly are. Every delay strengthens your patience. Every difficulty sharpens your edge. You stop rushing the process and start respecting it. You start trusting your journey, even when it feels slow. Because inside, you know one truth. The obsessed never lose. They either win or they learn, but they never stop. Obsession rewires your sense of possibility. You start seeing opportunities where others see impossibility. You start hearing solutions where others hear problems. You stop comparing yourself to the average and start competing with your own potential. Every decision, every action, every thought becomes a tool to carve your path forward. You no longer fear criticism, because you understand that judgment belongs to those unwilling to chase their own dreams. You no longer fear failure, because failure is merely a stepping stone toward mastery. You no longer fear the unknown, because obsession gives you the courage to create certainty where there is none. Destiny doesn't resist you. It bends under the weight of your relentless will. Obsession transforms your habits, your focus, your identity. You act while others hesitate, push while others pause, and endure while others quit. Every step forward compounds your power. Every challenge you face strengthens your resolve. And slowly, inevitably, destiny has no choice but to align with the force of your unstoppable determination. When desire becomes obsession, your entire being aligns with your purpose. Every thought, every heartbeat, every action becomes a declaration that you will not be stopped. The world may try to distract you, pull you down, or convince you to settle, but obsession gives you armor. You no longer operate on hope alone, you operate on unwavering commitment. You rise earlier than the crowd, work longer than the crowd, sacrifice more than the crowd, and learn faster than the crowd. You begin to see progress not in leaps, but in relentless, daily momentum that compounds over time into unstoppable results. Obsession teaches patience, because you understand that greatness is not immediate, it is built brick by brick, day by day. Teaches focus, because anything that doesn't serve your mission is automatically removed from your life. It teaches resilience, because obstacles are not walls but stepping stones. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every failure becomes a strategy. Every doubt becomes fuel for determination. When you are obsessed, ordinary limits disappear. Fear becomes temporary. Pain becomes a teacher. Discomfort becomes a signal that you are growing. You begin to embrace the grind that others avoid. You begin to welcome the struggle that others run from. And slowly, the impossible begins to bend to your will. Destiny does not ignore obsession. Cannot. When someone is willing to dedicate their mind, body, and spirit to a single purpose without compromise, the universe rearranges itself. Opportunities align, paths open, people appear, and timing works in your favor. Nothing, not luck, not chance, not circumstance, can withstand the relentless force of an obsessed mind. The world yields, obstacles dissolve, dreams become reality, and the one who is obsessed